Said before, Gillis McCarter. We've already seen Gillis losing earlier in the day
against
to
the blue-white humans.
Blue-white humans.
Yep. Now it's going to be interesting. He's got so many threats, and against Ari's slower clock, is Ari going to be able to do anything? I mean, Ari doesn't even have access to. He's got, I guess, 2 Day of Judgments in the board, and that's it.
Gillis on the play with a Ponder or a Gitaxian Probe. Okay, do we...
So, a Doomblade, a Ponder, a Snapcaster Mage. This is a pretty excellent grip. He doesn't have black mana yet, but with a Ponder and a chance to run it back...
I think we've got the wrong name on for Ari Lax's opponent.
Yeah, this doesn't look like Gillis.
Does not have sorry, Gilly McCarter does not have Ponder in his deck, or Gitaxian Probe.
Yep, so we're going to find out who the secret, man of mystery on the right is. Ari up 1-0. Ari having a much better idea of who his opponent is than us. And now he has an Oblivion Ring.
It is probable that Gillis is playing a Delver deck.
But it's not Gillis.
No,
Gillis is
Gillis. It's probable that...
Dan Gillis.
Dan Gillis, okay.
Oh, here we go. So we don't have a list yet, but I'm going to conjecture that he's playing Delver of Secrets, Snapcaster Mage, Restoration Angel, Vapor Snag.
Wait a second, do you think he might be playing Mana Leak?
Well, probably not at this point, because they've sideboarded.
Game 2, there we go. I still actually like Mana Leak against Ari. Here is Blade Splicer versus Blade Splicer.
Now, from the looks of it, Dan is just traditional blue-white. But he's, again, on the Blade Splicer tip. As we can see, a number of people taking advantage of Michigan, of this area's predilection for red-green aggro.
Absolutely. Chicago, known for red. Indiana, known for white. And Michigan, red-green.
Just for this season, anyway. From looking at the local, all the events that have been going on over the past month and a half. So, Dan, pondering his options. It's always tricky that first time you swing with the Golem, because it's like you're representing Snag or Gut Shot, but your opponent could have the Gut Shot too. So if you're not actually representing it, you're a little bit playing with fire.
There we go, right, Gillis.
And
what do we got?
It looks like he's got Bonfire. He's actually playing a Delver deck splashing red.
Blue-white splash red Delver.
Now his is a little different than the other one in the sense that he also has Pillar of Flame and Incinerate. He still has the Blade Splicer Restoration Angel.
He has Incinerate?
He has Incinerate, actual Incinerate.
That's actually delving deep into red.
Very retro. And he has Pillar of Flame as well. It's not clear that he's still going to have Incinerate after sideboarding.
Okay, so what this looks like, it looks like this is a mashup of Christian Calcano's deck with the more traditional blue-white list.
Absolutely. And what does he have in the sideboard of interest, since we're already...
Zealous conscripts are in the board. I don't believe they come in this matchup.
He does have Combust, which will surely...
Combust is going to come in. That actually seems really sick.
Absolutely. Combust seems fantastic here. Mental Misstep also seems reasonable, though not nearly as good against Ari's Delverless Delver. All right.
Snapcaster coming in after the attack from Ari.
So we have a Snapcaster Mage, a Blade Splicer, a Golem Token, and 4 land.
It's going to Ponder. So with the Seachrome Coast on top of all of this, that's going to take out all of Ari's mana for his turn 4.
Meanwhile, Dan also has a Blade Splicer and a Golem. A little bit less reserved, a little bit left, not on the board yet, but neither player has their splash color yet either.
In with the Golem.
Now Dan has Vapor Snag, which is always an interesting little dance against the Golem token.
And we have a main phase Angel in response, Gut Shot. So you're required to target with the Angel. You're not required to flicker with the Angel.
Correct. So even if he would have Gut Shot in response, he would not have had to phase out the Golem.
Yeah. I think it would have been nice if you were required to flicker.
Add a little bit more tension.
Exactly. And here we see an O-Ring.
O-Ring targeting Restoration Angel.
Actually, more accurately, I'm casting O-Ring.
Yeah, because you never know.
And in response, did he do this too quickly? Okay, he waits for the trigger, and then there we go. That's appropriate. There are a couple of moments of time that happen with O-Ring. Nile Spellbomb joining the party on Ari's side of the table, and an aggressive attack here for 6 damage.
Wow.
Bonfire for 4.
Bonfire is super effective.
That was pondered 2 turns ago.
Yep, very good. He decides not to spend his last mana. Is he going to present another threat? Or is he just holding up negate? Probably just holding up negate.
Yeah, and I believe he has a negate in hand.
Wow, excellent. Bonfire is super effective. That's going to take an impressive sequence here. What does Ari have access to? Does he have Consecrated Sphinx?
He
does not, right?
He has Sun Titan and Batterskull for a top end, and Gideon potentially.
Both Batterskull and Gideon vulnerable to the negate that Dan's holding.
And we actually saw this happen with Michael Jacob when Michael Jacob was playing the same style matchup in round 1, where Bonfire was so effective against him. And Michael Jacob, both times winning 2-0 for that match, but just by the skin of his teeth, in one case going down to exactly 1.
Absolutely. But Dan's sitting in a pretty comfortable spot with a relatively short clock and negate to keep things protected.
Image. Targets the Golem.
Not a bad sequence.
And he covers up his image with a Golem token.
Hoping Dan forgets in case there's a gut shot.
I don't know how I feel about that, actually. I think that is kind of misrepresentative. I don't think Ari's being shady at all. That's not Ari's way. But I do think that might be not a good way to represent that.
No. It's sticking out of the bottom.
Okay, and then doesn't matter for posterity because, we got Doomblade and we got Vapor Snag. The Doomblade working.
So things quieting down a little bit.
To Ari's joy.
Absolutely, particularly when, Dan's at 7. If Ari can surprise him with a threat, like he's behind in cards, but now he just needs a chance to get some kind of a clock. So Dan, 6 mana, including a mountain. Relatively full grip, but mostly reactive cards. Ari, on the other hand, 5 land, Nile Spellbomb, few cards in hand. Both players with more answers than threats at the moment.
Snapcaster Ponder?
Probably. These Snapcaster mages are just so good for the attrition-y type situation, but
and in response, the Spellbomb for a card.
Now this is where it's super sick if you respond by Thought Scouring. But and Dan has access to them, but does not have it here.
Phantasmal Image from Ari. Snapcaster Ponder? He could do the kill.
No, he just wants to see
Ponder,
what's coming.
there we go. I like the Ponder better.
Absolutely. He'll use a kill spell that's on top of his deck or something.
And a leak for that Ponder.
Absolutely. Cash it in while you can.
A negate for that Ponder.
Yeah.
6 mana.
Is this Sun Titan or Consecrated Sphinx?
Bonfire.
And that's the game.
Yeah, I think Ari's life was a little bit lower than that. I think
yeah,
Ari was
he had gotten
7.
hit by. He had been hit. It was 6 because I think he got hit for a Bonfire by 3 and a Blade Splicer attack.
Right.
So, the Bonfire here seals the deal, and we move to Game 3 with the score tied 1-1. Ari Lax with the same mid-range Esper deck that we saw from Brian DeMars and Michael Jacob on the left versus Dan Gillis playing Rakadelver on the right.
I really like the look of this Bonfire Delver list.
And you like this one better than the other one we saw?
It might be practically the same, but it's got
the
Incinerate
and Pillar Flame. So a lot more removal. And no mana leaks. That's the big difference.
I'm going to think about it for a little bit.
Seems like he's very well set up for the red-green matchup. Meanwhile, Ari Lax playing an identical, or nearly identical, Esper deck to Michael Jacob. It sounds like MJ, Ari, and Damars all worked on Standard for this event. And getting an update.
Most embarrassing mistake my Magic career made.
So he, it looks like he's probably, is he going back to the sideboard to change it up a little bit?
I think a little bit. I mean, what did he? Well, we obviously did not see Game 1,
Right.
so we don't know what happened yet. That would make him go one direction, then not the other. It could be that he just wasn't able to identify enough stuff from his opponent to put him on the right deck. And now there's more information.
Yep. And now, It could also be that the game was like a non-competitive game. I mean, they did have 18 minutes of delays. Maybe they had a deck check. Their game's been very extended. It's possible that the first game was a non-game.
This is true.
But it could also just be that he wants to sideboard differently on the play versus the draw. I know that's one in a lot of Delver matchups that I like to do differently. You know, like maybe the number of mana leaks, maybe the number of reactive cards, like how proactive you're doing.
So, looking at the list that we saw in round 1 from Thomas Herzog, Thomas had gut shots where Dan Gillis does not have gut shots, and Thomas has mana leak where Dan does not have mana leak, and that 5 cards represents 3 Incinerate and 2 Pillar of Flame for Dan Gillis.
Interesting. So, both players deciding to keep their opening hands. From the looks of it, they both do. Ari leading off with a Ponder. I don't know about you, but I'm always happy when my opponent plays a turn 1 Ponder because they didn't play a Delver. You know, when they're on the play. I mean, obviously, sometimes you have the answer to the Delver or whatever, but...
I mean, the other thing to think about, too, is that if they're playing a turn 1 Ponder, that either they are just knee-jerking their Ponder, or they are in need of a Ponder to set up their turns. Or, this is the worst case scenario, they can see that their hand is so tight with things to do over the next several turns that they just have to do it now.
Absolutely. And it's not like they're locked in, because, I mean, a lot of people talk about saving Ponder. With decks with Thought Scour, you can just Thought Scour yourself on your upkeep after you keep the 1 card you want.
Yeah. I do think that Ponder is one of those cards that is not played as carefully as it often ought be. And look at that, the play you're talking about, Thought Scour. Ari not the kind of player to miss that kind of opportunity.
This is not Ari's first rodeo. He has definitely read AJ Soccer's article on how to brainstorm, and or seen the video, how to ponder, how to brainstorm.
I do think that a lot of people over-apply the general rules that I think AJ covered very well. So one of the reasons I sometimes talk about those brainstorms in Legacy as being quote-unquote unideal. And what I mean by that isn't that they're making a mistake necessarily, but rather that it's not grasping the most out of a brainstorm, when sometimes you don't need the most, you need what you need.
Right. It's like those situations where people learn that they're supposed to cast instants during their opponent's end step, so then they become slave to it, and they're just always casting the instant on their opponent's end step, when it's like, why don't you just cast it when your opponent was tapped out on your own turn?
End of your turn-itis kills.
Absolutely. And I think the same is true with Ponder. Like, sometimes people will be a little too, they'll save it a little too much, when really sometimes you're just supposed to just do it on turn 1.
Absolutely. Ari, pondering again, finding a spell bomb, and interestingly has the same swamp that Michael Jacob has.
I don't believe that Ari is as colorblind. However, Ari is the type of guy. I'm almost surprised that Ari doesn't have his land in front of his spells.
Oh, is Michael Jacob a land in front guy?
No, absolutely not. But the reason I say this is because, I mean, Michael Jacob obviously is not an evil person, and people who play with their land in front of their spells or who play with their land upside down, obviously completely deranged human beings. But Ari is the type of guy who might do it just to kind of poke the other person a little bit. The sort of Bush League tactic that...
there are many things that I have in common with Paolo. Paolo and I both agree creatures in just like that, just like Ari's doing.
Creatures
Pardon
what?
me, creatures, actually, incorrect. Have it backwards.
You mean Ari does it right? Like almost every sane human being?
Well, if you read the rule book... And so Ari here with a Lingering Souls, a Nile Spellbomb just lying in wait. Once again, just being used just to get a card. He already did this a moment ago against Dan. Dan, Cavern of Souls in play. He can put down an Angel if he wants without it being at any risk for going away. But does he even have one? I don't know. Thought Scour.
Paulo, another Hall of Fame candidate.
I think Paulo should be a lock.
I think the only thing that's reasonable to hold against him is that he puts his land in front of his creatures. I think he's going to lose a few votes because of that.
I hope not.
But that's just about the only reason anybody would ever not vote for him.
I mean, I feel like there have been a couple of years where I think that the only reason not to vote for someone is you're gaming the system. And I think the only reason not to vote for Paolo is if you are a gaming the system kind of voter. Paolo deserves the Hall of Fame so abundantly obviously.
I mean, he's one of the top 5 players of all time.
Yes. And we see the first actual real red source for Dan Gillis. A Angel pops down in play for Ari, and here they come for 5. Angel is so good against Vapor Snag. It's just really, really impressive what happens when you get to untap and have that Angel in play. There's the Snag.
But for what? How much has he gained? It's a very temporary solution.
Yep, 3 mana is what he has gained. Like
a life.
Yeah, 3 life, 3 mana.
And 1 life to Ari.
Yeah.
It's not the worst. It's interesting.
Not ideal, but
I
not
believe
the
he had a
worst.
Restoration Angel in his hand that he did not play. I wonder if you're supposed to play the Angel there.
Well, I mean, I don't know what the Cavern is on. I think it's on Angel, but I mean.
But he may just correctly anticipate that Ari has a Doomblade.
And down comes the Angel again. Its time was delayed. It's back from the clouds.
I mean, if Dan has an Angel, he's going to have to play it here. Don't know that he actually does. Looks like he might. He has something, some kind of a white card. Snapcaster Mage.
Are we going to see another Vapor Snag?
Yep. Dude, this is a hard way to do it. I'm not even clear. Are we? Is he really supposed to be even bouncing the Angel instead of those tokens?
That would be okay.
This is a grimy way to do it.
I mean, it could be he's just trying to tie up Ari's mana, but to what end? And 2 mana. Image the Snapcaster, perhaps?
It's a nice way to do it. No, these aggro control matchups, it's always so interesting seeing the change of the pacing, because when are you supposed to be beating down? When are you racing? When are you playing control? When are you trying to make the game go longer? When are you trying to speed it up? Often, each play that your opponent makes or each play that you make could change that decision.
And it's a shuffle. Land, Phantasmal Image. Yeah, like, I do think that these decks that have these mixed strategies available to them are the hardest decks to pilot. If you're playing a deck that is, let's say, a combo deck that's complicated, I think that this is actually harder Magic.
The fact that you have to, that it's so dynamic.
Yeah.
That against each opponent, it's changing at changing intervals. It's definitely one of the biggest reasons why decks like Fairies, Callblade, and Delver have been, I guess, allowed to have as big a reigns as they've had, is partly because there's a little bit of a barrier to entry. There are a lot of people who, like, no matter how good it is, they're not just picking it up because they don't want to play the endless mirror matches, because if they're not confident that they're the best player in the room at that archetype, it's a losing proposition.
We have a Bonfire for 2. Wow. For one. It's a X, cast from the hand, Bonfire for 1. Wow. Bonfire, once again, showing how powerful it is.
Absolutely.
And a Doomblade for the Delver. Basically asking for a mana leak if it's there. An Angel, if Dan has it, I think he does, also protects his...
The patience from not playing the Angel earlier. He wanted to wait until he could draw a card from it. Excellent play on Dan's part.
This is a Johnny Chan moment.
Wow, it's crazy too, because Ari can't hope to draw Bonfire the same way Dan can. Is Bonfire
Ari's
the future? Is that what's going on now?
Maybe. And we have 6 mana. Or the future could be the past, and it's go big.
Wow. Sun Titan Image is super effective. So what is Dan hoping to draw here? What ways does Dan have to get out of this? I mean, obviously, he can always hope to just draw a Miracle Bonfire.
I mean, his own images are good. one of the powerful things about Sun Titan is not particularly effective against a card like Conscripts. And a Blade Splicer.
So that's something, but Ari's ability to put 2 more permanents into play each turn. Plus, does Ari have a Lingering Souls in his yard?
Yes.
Wow.
Right there between those Nile spell bombs.
So things are going very, very well for Ari. He's got a number of cards in hand, lots of good options. From the looks of it, at least 1 Snapcaster Mage and 1 Angel. When these Sun Titans attack, they're both attacking and blocking, advancing his board. He can protect it. I think, short of a Bonfire, Dan might be done for.
And the Nile Spellbomb into play from 1 Sun Titan.
As Dan's options are constricted even further.
I think we're seeing another Nile Spellbomb.
It's interesting that you can't use the Angel to really save your guys from Bonfire.
I've always liked that about the Angel, is that like it won't stop a day, it won't stop a bonfire. It has a lot of ways that it can protect you, but it doesn't do that.
I would do anything for you, but I won't do that.
That is a surprising reference. We have some chumps here. Chump chump.
Dude, I was at a Meatloaf show last year. Dude, everybody, absolutely. We just got a ruling from the judge. Everyone loves Meatloaf.
That's the director, sir. We'll call it the judge.
Everyone who's not playing in the event is a judge except us, from my perspective.
Did he just draw a Combust?
Yeah, but sadly, that's just not enough, right?
I mean, he can block the real Sun Titan, deal 3 first strike, and then combust. If that is a Combust, it might not be.
Ori has a Restoration Angel in hand.
Oh, yeah. And are we going to see Snappy Ponder? Oh, nope.
I think Dan is down to 1 turn.
Snappy Doom.
Dan needs to draw the Bonfire. You have to arrange your mana in the form of, well, I guess, Ponder. No, that doesn't work. You need to Miracle it. I guess you could always, if he's got the mana, he could Ponder, put Thought Scour on top, Thought Scour Ari, and draw the Miracle Bonfire. Dude, Miracles lead to some sweet game situations, no question about it.
This is true. Can't quite see what Ari just did. Ponder, perhaps?
I'm guessing he...
And we got another use of the Spellbomb.
Ari at this point, a full Grizzy.
Nope. I guess Ari must have scoured himself there at the end of the turn.
Just setting things up so that he can... well, he might be able to just punch through. I mean, he has 14 on the board. If he can get rid of that Golem, he could just end it right here.
Yeah, he's just going to wait a turn. It's fine.
Can he get back away? Does he have an O-ring or anything in the graveyard? That don't think he does, but...
I mean, blocks have not yet been declared, so he can still, if he wants to, go for it. Or he can just wait another turn.
Miracle Bonfire. Please report to the top of the library. Miracle Bonfire. So, Ari looks to be putting it away. But Dan, obviously, a couple live draws. It's like the World Series of Poker, where you know that you have very, very few ways to win. You know exactly what they are. You got to go through the motions and wait so that you can just flip it over and see if you get there. See if you hit your gut shot. Ari considering, should he commit anything else to the board? Should he be drawing some cards? He's got those Nile Spellbombs.
God, his hand is so incredible.
Does he have 2 angels also? Because if he has 2 angels, not even a single bonfire does it. Like, he needs to have a bonfire, keep a mana open to snag a... I mean...
And Ari, just main facing an angel.
Is he looking to just ponder again? Is that what we're Thought Scour?
Apparently Thought Scour.
He wants to scour himself, get a little more biz in the grave. This is where you're supposed to have a read on the future and thought scare your opponent because you know he's going to draw the bonfire. Wow, it seems a little aggressive.
What else is he doing? I think that this is way too much.
Why? Why do this?
I don't understand what's happening. Okay. Now,
This is on. Is this on Dan's end step? It was. Okay.
Okay, it's the end step.
All becomes clear to those of us. Ari Lax takes the title, or at least the game, 2-1 versus Dan Gillis with another Esper control defeating another Rakadelver. Despite how good Bonfire has been looking, we've been seeing Esper beating Rakadelver.